This is a story of two young men, the former a Japanese guy who formerly wrote for his university's paper and now acts as a reliable English source for people interested in Japanese politics. The latter a British 30-year-old who LARPs as a Japanese nationalist and pretends to know about the country he purports to be loyal to. Today we look at how the latter was absolutely exposed and his Twitter career shattered in only a matter of hours. August 13th, 2024. The day begins with Colonel Otaku responding to allegations made by left-wingers regarding his real nationality. He claims to be half Japanese and half British and denies the allegations as simply a conspiracy theory. Here we see the first red flag, namely the time for which he posted this, 12:36 a.m. Australian Western Standard Time or 1:36 a.m. Japanese Standard Time. Of course, it's nothing substantive. It could just be that he suffers from insomnia and doesn't go to bed until the early hours of the morning, though there are questions nonetheless, such as why would a Japanese guy be posting on Twitter at a time when most people are asleep? Which brings us to the second character of this story, Arin Yumi, who actually lives in Japan and offers to meet up in order to vouch for Colonel Otaku's nationality. Hey Colonel Otaku, you claim to be from Yokohama. I happen to be from the same prefecture too. Why don't we meet up so someone can finally vouch for your Japanese nationality and stop this madness once and for all? Not a bad offer, right? The colonel responds with an invite to Daishinden Park near the family mart where he allegedly works. Meet me there on August 24th. We'll discuss the time via DM. The stage is set, and the countdown begins. But before we discuss the events of August 24th, I really want to hammer in for you the kind of guy Colonel Otaku portrays himself to be. Allegedly, he's a really based guy who's leading a movement that gatekeeps Western Puritans from anime and fights against censorship that may befall it. Not only that, but his commentary on Japanese politics insists that he is definitely a nationalist. It's clear the LDP are trying to use nostalgia as many of us nationalists there that he really has to make clear there that he is a nationalist, have a soft spot for Shinzo Abe and Yasuhiro Nakasone. And not only that, he does also have some cutting-edge commentary over why Shinjiro Koizumi would be a bad pick for the LDP leadership election. That sounds great, right? But then you realize he's made some weird comments about the preservation of swimsuits in Japanese high schools, as well as some really creepy stuff over analyzing the anatomy of the female form. Another red flag, as Colonel Otaku is allegedly a Shintoist, and these sorts of spicy comments are not necessarily consistent with the Shinto moral ethic. Nonetheless, let's come back to our story where in the lead up to the meetup, the colonel shows off some credentials with some photos of the family mart he works at, something that will definitely not come back to bite him on the day of the meetup. Not to mention that on the 22nd, disaster strikes as Arin Yumi makes an update to his followers regarding polling on the LDP leadership election, and it seems a certain colonel had the same idea as the image was reposted with an English translation over without appropriate referencing, so a not so good omen for what's about to happen next. The 24th comes and it seems that the meetup has occurred. The colonel quite nervous considering he's about to meet up with a girl, and it seems his nationality is confirmed to be Japanese. Now it should be noted Yumi is a male, and I've no idea why Colonel Otaku decided to pretend he was a girl. It's the weirdest thing about this whole ordeal. Also, as to the reason why he's using a badly photoshopped image of a Google Maps screenshot, I guess we're just going to ignore that, and the colonel goes on his morning with his reputation seemingly saved. However, by the afternoon, Arin Yumi had different ideas. At 1:02 p.m. JST, he posts the following video where he's clearly standing at the agreed upon location with no sign of the LARPer. Yumi continues that he actually visited the family mart the colonel claims to have worked in, and it seems the staff have no recollection of a half-British guy ever working there at the store. The colonel and his staunchest supporters are on full damage control now, with a massive amount of cope being posted left, right, and center. His nationality doesn't matter because he still loves Japan from his heart. You don't even need to be Japanese to be writing about Japan, quietly ignoring that the colonel consistently claims that he's a Japanese nationalist, and one would think that a Japanese nationalist ought to actually be the nationality that he is supposed to be being nationalistic towards. Actually, he gave the West a better impression of Japan than you whoever did, which Yumi debunks completely because doom posting about Kurdish illegal immigration when it's not that bad, something Colonel Otaku consistently practices by fear-mongering about immigration causing the collapse of Japanese society, that this does not actually give an accurate representation of what's going on in Japan. The situation is made worse at 7 p.m. JST when Arin Yumi posts the full video on his adventure to try find Colonel Otaku, and all the poor guy can respond to with is, haha, this was all just a massive troll and you guys should just laugh along because it's funny. I mean, the absolute cognitive dissonance on this guy is absolutely insane. I'll read from his Cope tweet. Excellent video, Arin Yumi. You always were the journalistic type. Shall we tell them the truth? This whole meetup at Daishinden Park was an inside joke between me and him. Yes, Arin Yumi is in fact a guy. We had a great laugh and it was entertaining, with some alleged screenshots of the DM. I'm thinking of doing something entertaining for our followers. What about pretending we're going to meet up? That would be hilarious. I'll pretend I'm a girl and I will be commenting on your posts, pestering you to meet up, and you agree to it under the justification of confirming whether you are Japanese or not. That's a good idea. May I suggest we both delete this conversation so that when it comes out that it is an inside joke, you can be like, oh no, I never spoke to the colonel, he's a lying LARPer, blah blah blah, and you will continue on the drama for a little while longer. Now by this point, you gotta feel sorry for the guy because in a matter of hours, his whole charade's been exposed, even Oliver Jaw's covering it, and he's been made a laughingstock by multiple left-wingers too. Though the cherry on top is this final apology tweet as to why he did the whole thing in the first place, and to be honest, it's super cringe, and I'll just read what's been preserved in its entirety. I am not Japanese, but I can explain why I pretended to be Japanese. I am deeply ashamed of being British. I see the UK as a lost country. It's gone too far. My purpose on X was to talk to people from different backgrounds and to learn other perspectives, which is not something I could do if people knew I was British. I have had great conversations with Filipinos, Syrians, Egyptians, Koreans surprisingly, Germans, Italians, etc., and have created a genuine relationship with an actual Japanese person who knows the truth about me. Because the UK colonized half the world and to this day works alongside America in destroying countries people rightfully wouldn't want to talk to me, my love for Japan is genuine. And this is the dumbest part of the apology, because he says here his love for Japan starts when he was playing Sonic 1 with his family on the Sega Mega Drive and trying to pronounce the Japanese names on the credits. It's comical, right? He continues, right? My most favorite artist of all time is Linkin Park, which was founded by Mike Shinoda Ahafu, which it's crazy. It's crazy that this is the basis of his love for Japan, right? I'd say 95% of all happy memories in my life involve Japan in some ways, and I wanted to protect Japan. And this is the best part. I would rather die than it end up being like mine. That is why I pretended to be Japanese. So, thus marks the end of the story. If you would like to genuinely support an actual Japanese guy who knows what he's talking about and gives an accurate insight into Japanese politics from a conservative perspective, do go follow Arin Yumi on Twitter because he is really based, and the stuff he writes is genuinely helpful for us foreigners who know nothing about Japan. He's also a really good English source who isn't a left-wing news organization, so you'll be getting an actually balanced view on what's going on in Japan. So if you did enjoy this video, please do subscribe to the channel, and if you're interested in anime reviews, I recently did a video on the Christian themes of my dear friend Nokutan.